let's go back to Shiatsu for a moment now and
Yeah.
try and pick up the thread where your father said to you, no, don't become an artist. Did he say to you, why don't you try Shiatsu? Was that his suggestion?
Yeah, no, he wanted me to do the Shiatsu because he wanted to have somebody follow his work, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And yeah, that's why, you know, he in the end, he convinced me that that's the only way, you know.
Fathers do have that talent sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
So was he your first teacher? Is that how it worked out?
Yeah, I could say that, yes. Then, you know, I went to Nippon Shiatsu school, yeah, because my father told me that I should have a diploma, official diploma. And that's from the Nippon Shiatsu school, you know. So I went there and I was lucky around 1964. There were many, it's in the Shiatsu, it's a golden age, I would say, you know, in that period. There were Mr. Masunaga, Momma, and, you know, all those very interesting teachers, yeah, unique teachers, you know.
So just to stop you for a moment, Sensei, so that people realize what you're talking about here, this is in Tokyo, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in
Right.
Tokyo.
So how old were you when you traveled to Tokyo to study Shiatsu at the Nippon Shiatsu School?
I was a little bit more than 18 years old. Yeah.
So tell me what it's like to go from Tochigi Prefecture in the mountains to Tokyo, the big city.
Yeah, first year I commuted, yeah. It took me, yes, from my city. I took first express train, you know, otherwise I missed the courses, you know. So during the 1 year, yes, I did, you know, whole year commuting from my small city to Tokyo. And I had to take one express train and then two trams, you know, streetcars, yeah. So altogether, roughly speaking, 3 hours. It took me 3 hours to go to school, 3 hours come back. So 6 hours I was inside the train.
And how often did you do this? Once a week or every day?
Every day.
Whoa.
From Monday to Friday, yeah.
So now I had no idea about this, but I expect you had to pay to attend this school, right?
Yeah. Well, my father paid, yeah, in the beginning. Then after 1 year, I really, you know, I was young, but I especially going to the school in the morning, there were so many other people, you know, in the train, so I could not sit, you see. And so it was a hell, you know. So I decided to stay in Tokyo, and then already after first year, I could work part-time in the Shiatsu Center, you know, near the Nippon Shiatsu School, you see. So it was very practical. I could walk to the school, and then when I finish my courses in late afternoon until 9 or 10 in the evening, I worked at center, and then I sleep in the center. So I did that.
Wow. So you were sleeping in the dojo in a sense.
Yeah, yes, you could say dojo. Yeah.
So you were a real uchideshi.
Uchideshi, I don't know about that, but yes, I had, you know, the guys who stayed there 10 years, and then, yeah, he was very rough on me, you know. But I really learned a lot from this guy. He was, yeah, the chief of this, you know, place, and he taught me how to press and, you know, what kind of posture. And in the beginning, I was watching him, and then other people, you know, working. And then after, he slowly asked me to do part of the person's back, you know. And then in the end, of course, I could do it all my alone, and myself. And so he started to appreciate my work,
And what's the name of this teacher of yours?
Takeda, I think it was.
Takeda? Is he well known outside of Japan or not really?
No, I would say he's not like Masunaga. Yeah, Masunaga was well known.
No. But at the Nippon school, you did have some famous teachers, didn't you?
Yeah, like I say, Masunaga and Momma, and another very famous teacher that not many people know in the West was, oh my God, I forgot his name.
We'll come back to it. You'll remember in a minute. Tell me about Monma Sensei.
Monma Sensei wasn't an intellectual man. He was, very much a practical man. So I suppose he started do shiatsu when he was a young man, and then he learned all by himself in the beginning, and then he was picked up by the Namikoshi Sensei that, because Namikoshi Sensei also worked, since he was a young man. And so Namikoshi Sensei thought that Monma Sensei had incredible technique, especially abdominal work, So it was good to have a teacher, a practical teacher, to teach how to press the abdomen, So he was a teacher, practical teacher, only practical.
Ampuku.
Yeah. Yes, Ampuku, yeah. And the other sensei was Izawa
Sensei. So what was the difference between Izawa and Monma Sensei then? What are their strengths?
Izawa Sensei was, first of all, he lived in China and Korea, South Korea, before when Japan occupied Korea, you see. Korea was a Japanese, colony in a way, yeah. So in that time, he was there in Korea to teach Japanese, and then same time he learned from the Chinese the ancient text, So he could read in Chinese ancient text and then Yellow Emperor, and he had influence on Mr. Masunaga, because Mr. Masunaga, not many people know, but he didn't study ancient text in the beginning, He learned partly from Izawa Sensei, and then, because Masunaga Sensei learned, he went to this famous Kyoto University, to study the Gestalt psychology. His degree was Gestalt psychology, not ancient text, Chinese text. And then, but he was same time very good writer. He could write many articles. So he was quite well appreciated by the Namikoshi Sensei, because in the shiatsu world in Japan, there weren't many intellectual people. Many good practitioners, but not intellectually.
It sounds though that Izawa was one of the intellectuals.
Yes, indeed, it was,
So his influence was probably a major influence on Masunaga.
I could say that, yes, indeed, they were close, in that sense, and then, of course, Izawa Sensei lived in China and he in Korea and met many of those people, who knew the ancient text and all that.
So if we think about these different people having a very different path before they came to Nippon Shiatsu School, Masunaga's path was again quite different, wasn't it?
Yes, first of all, his parents were practicing Shiatsu,
Right.
And then Masunaga mentioned about how his parents learned Shiatsu from Tenpiki Tamae,
Yep.
And so Tenpiki Tamae really appreciated the Masunaga family, especially the Mr. Masunaga's mother. Mr. Masunaga's mother was a very influential person to, Masunaga Sensei. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, because he talked about a lot about his mother during the course, the teaching.
In what way was she an influence on him then?
How do I say? Very devoted to Shiatsu world, the practical Shiatsu, and also incredibly, devoting to develop, to bring up her children to really good, person in society, but also she wanted them to do the high learning, go to the best university and things like that.
That's
and she kept after Masunaga Sensei, to study, and so he went to this famous university, yeah. But he said in his books that he wasn't interested in the beginning about Shiatsu, He was interested more like becoming, working in the publishing house, because he was good at writing, That was, well, he thought he was thinking of becoming a writer, author, but then he said, there are many other better people who could write better than him. So he thought maybe it's more secure to have working in a publishing house,
Yeah. And just a few words then about Tenpeki Sensei. What would you say his particular characteristics were?
Well, I unfortunately never met him because he died, I think, before, I came to Nippon Shiatsu School, his book, Shiatsu, very famous book. He was trying to make a linkage between the Western and the Eastern medicine. If you look at his book, there are a lot of anatomical explanation, Western sense of anatomy, At the same time, introducing the Eastern philosophy, like Buddhism, So I think he wanted to have both, the Western trained people and then Eastern trained people to come together.
I would suggest to you, Sensei, I don't know if this is correct, but I think that is symptomatic of the time of that period.
Yeah.
A lot of people were trying to make those kind of connections and fuse the old Japanese world with the new modern world. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Including Namikoshi.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, Mr. Namikoshi, Namikoshi Sensei, the founder, Tokujiro Namikoshi, wasn't interested in the Meridians, by the way.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's well known.
He was more pressing, the Western way, touching here, what kind of muscle and then the nervous system,
Yeah.
It's very Western way of explanation.
Yes, that's quite well known, in fact. So it's interesting in one way to understand perhaps why he did that.
Why he did the Western way? I think, like you said earlier, maybe because Japan lost the war, and a lot of American influences, coming to Japan. So, Americans brought a lot of Western way of thinking, and maybe a lot of people wanted to throw away the old things, including Chinese medicine, because they thought they were inferior to the Western medicine, you see.
Yeah, I really do have that impression very strongly. And I spent some time in Japan and I learned Ryodoraku acupuncture, which you probably know all about.
Yes.
which is very much that, isn't it? A combination of the Eastern and the Western.
Yeah, yeah.
But the theory, the idea, the ideology behind Ryodoraku is to keep the Eastern medicine, but give it Western clothing. Do you think that's the same thing that Namikoshi was trying to do?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I really think Mr. Namikoshi wasn't really interested about Eastern philosophy, you know. He was really, when he practiced Shiatsu, I did receive several of his Shiatsu, you know, abdominal Shiatsu. Yeah, it's quite something, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very gentle, soft touch. He didn't press hard. My father did a lot of very strong, forceful Shiatsu, but Namikoshi abdominal Shiatsu was very soft, you know. It's like snowfall, very, you know, almost feeling, but you felt energy movement, yeah.
Wonderful.
So that is a very, I felt it's more like Eastern, very subtle approach, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't want to use you know, like let's say this another man, you know, I don't know whether you heard of this man's name, Haruchika Noguchi, you know.
Oh
Haruchika.
yeah. One of my
he
heroes.
Setai, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was very much into this Eastern approach, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very subtle touching, you know. And he was wearing, but at the same time also, because I've been treated by his disciples. He has many disciples, yeah.
Yes.
You know, the Haruchika Noguchi, many disciples. Yes. And one of the disciples, you know, that I went to receive the treatment, he imitated like Haruchika Noguchi wearing hakama, you know, hakama. Yeah. And but same time, he put the Western record, the Mozart, you know, Beethoven. Yeah. And when he was treating, you hear the Western music, you know, mostly Mozart and, you know, like that. You know, like I remember I was receiving, you know, you know, it's like, oh my God, you know, that's Western. I was thinking of more receiving the shakuhachi playing, you know, no.
Yeah.
But then he told me that his sensei, Haruchika Noguchi, doing exactly the same.
That's interesting. I never would have guessed that, Sensei.
Western, you know, music and then treating people.
That's a huge surprise for me.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Noguchi Sensei?
No, I never met, unfortunately. Yeah, but
apparently an amazing person.
Yeah, I heard a lot of his disciple told me that he was a very eccentric man, and yeah, you know, he had many disciples. Yeah, he comes to the he has a lot of disciples waiting him. You know, he come home, and then he say that now I take the bath. You know, ofuro, and then disciple when he hears the voice of his master saying, I'm going to take the hot bath. Then, you know, he captures sensei to be tired. So the water should be, that temperature should be 80 degrees, I don't know, you know, 100, you know. And then the sensei gets into the huro, and then, my disciple understood. Yeah. So he really upgrade the disciple, yeah.
Sensei, you probably know this, but there's a lot of people now in Europe practicing Katsugenundo.
Yes.
Because of Kishi Sensei.
Mr. Kishi was doing Seitai, yeah? Well, he's his own way, yeah?
Yeah, of course, his own way.
Yeah, and
Reiki.
yes. Yeah, Reiki, yeah. Well, you know, how do I say? Yeah, but you know, I sometimes wonder because I've been to several different disciples. You know, as I say, he had many disciples. You know, but I sometimes felt they were just imitating, not something. You know, So in the beginning was, like doing like that, very interesting, but then after I said to myself, what is the purpose of doing that, you see?
Yeah.
And it didn't really, I didn't feel like they were doing it from inside the key energy, but it's more mental, they're just
Yeah.
copying.
That's the real problem when we see imitation and it's not authentic.
Yeah, but well, it was that unique practice of Noguchi. I mean, it's his way of doing. No one else could do same way. That's for sure. You see. But they captured that he was wearing hakama and putting the Western music. To me, it's not necessary. But yeah. Maybe they've had, not all of them, because I want 3 different his disciples and 2 disciples exactly the same thing, imitating hakama and putting the record. But the other disciples, didn't care about that. They just did the shiatsu, that's all,
Oh, they were doing shiatsu?
Yes.
Oh.
Some of them, yeah.
Really?
Some of them, even Mr. Haruchika Noguchi was pressing, with the fingers, in the back.
Interesting.
But the treatment, as I understand, it didn't last more than 10-15 minutes, quite quickly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's not 1 hour or,